can you share some tips or advice to prepare for an interview? And let's try to keep this down in general. Like, so let's see if we can focus on what are like the main things that like people need to be able to figure out.
Couple things then. First off, the interview should never be your first interview, right? Look at what we're doing right now. We're talking to the screen. You can record a Zoom call, whatever you want to do. So even, do mock interviews, right? Like sports, you go and you practice, and then you play the other team. Same thing for interviews. It should never be, oh my God, I'm really nervous. I'm effing nervous. I'm freaking out, right? No, freak out with your friends and play around with it. Like, what questions would you ask, right?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Just mock interviews.
The other thing is if you were to do, let's say you're interviewing at 5 different places, I bet you the 4th and 5th interview, you're in a groove. Number 1, 2, and 3, you're cold, right? Oh, I never thought of that. Right? Yeah. But by the 4th interview, you're like, zing, zing, zing. So the deal is number 1 interview should already be your 4th because you've play tested at home basically, right? Get a bunch of kids over with pizza and beer and do a bunch of mock interviews, right? And think about it. Think about what is the audience and what are they going to ask you? They're going to ask you like things like, what did you really do well in school or at your last studio? I often ask people, what's your superpower? Because some people are generalists and they say, well, I'm good at this following 25 things. Okay, that's cool. If I put you in a room and you had 5 minutes to do one thing or it's the end of your life, what are you going to do? Oh, crap, I'm going to do this because I'm really good at that. Thank you. That's your superpower, right?
Yeah.
So drill into strengths and weaknesses. Is there an area you are weak in and you either want to learn more or you've realized you can't do that and you're not interested at all, right? Yeah. Where are you trending to go? Because I always tell people have 1 or 2 things you're really good at and 1 or 2 things that support those, i.e. animator needs to know modeling and rigging, right? Surfacing needs to know models, needs to know where his surfacing stuff's going down the pipe, right? So know the other 2 departments that surround whatever you're doing. Because also in a small studio, you're now valuable because you might end up doing all 3 of those things.
Absolutely.
Also more employable because now you have 3 skill sets rather than I'm just a surfacing guy. There's a guy I know who said, I just do fur and feathers. Just fur and feathers.
That's
right? I'm like, specific. Really? No lighting? Oh, fur and feathers, man. I'm on the couch till someone calls, right? So look, awesome. Back to the question, sharing some tips. I think, again, don't go in cold. Find out who's going to interview you, if you can. Some guys going down to Pixar. Yeah, who's going to be in the room?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Find out what projects they've done. So, and
that's a fair question too, right? I mean, if you're an artist and you're looking for a job and you're setting up an interview, it's a fair question to be like, can I ask who's going to be in the room? I mean, sometimes people can be proactive, right? I mean, you may not be able to get an answer. They might not know, but like if you can get an answer, that'd be great. Cause then you could actually do a little homework on that person. Like what other projects they work on.
Absolutely. As a recruiter, Brent, I will send these 2 people will be interviewing you and here's their LinkedIn links. So you can go check out who they are, right? Now, hopefully there's more comfort for everyone involved, right? Because the client's already seen your resume. So I send the interviewees as well, right? But I hope that helps. There's a bunch of stuff. I mean, that itself could be a whole topic of getting ready for interviews.
Yeah.
But, and game studios I applied to, I would go back in the day, I'd rent all their games and play.
Oh yeah, not a bad idea. Familiarize
as much
yourself.
as I could. Because then, you'd pull up like, hey, the rearview mirror dropped in the second port of that game. Where's that? That was a really cool feature. And they'd be like, "Have a guy, he played our game, right?" Like,
You just read a review. He actually
exactly. But also go on and read the reviews, right? Because think of some very senior game designers. They love it when someone can point out.
For
Don't pick at it, but compliment it, right? Oh, I really love the way you guys did the secondary animation on the wings like Ghoul in this scene. Oh, the guy's watching secondary animations. What the hell, right?
Well, it just shows that you have critical eye too, right? And you're not just sort of looking at it surface level.
Yeah.
Good tips.